Grandma, lend me money. My grandchild apologizes and asks me for a loan. I was anxious about that monthly request. She should be receiving $1,500 a month from my son. So why doesn't she have enough money? I was worried that something might have happened to her when she came to New York, but I was finally told the unbelievable truth. I'm having an affair. After a confession from her, I decided to cut ties altogether. My name is Amanda. Predeceased by my husband, I live alone while working part-time after retirement. My son is already married and has one daughter. My granddaughter is also a university student this year and lives in New York. Until recently, I thought she was in elementary school, but before I knew it, she was already 18 years old. Every year, I feel that as I get older, life goes by so quickly. I feel like I'm being left behind by the flow of time that I can't keep up with, but maybe that's what life is all about. I'm healthy, I have the energy to work part-time, and I can go on a trip with my friends once every few months. Despite the loneliness, I was happy with my life. However, not everything is going well. Naomi, a daughter-in-law who married my son, has not been able to have a very good relationship with my daughter-in-law, although it has not reached the point of in-law problems. However, we have been in this relationship for 20 years now, so I don't think we can do anything about it now. The first thing Naomi told me was that she wouldn't take care of me in my old age. Of course, I didn't intend to be taken care of, but to be honest, I don't feel good about it either. And after my granddaughter, Violet, was born, she told me she didn't want me to see her daughter. As expected, my son retorted that it was terrible, so I didn't miss him, but he still doesn't seem to like Violet coming to visit us. Did I say something rude to Naomi, or did I do something that hurt her when her grandson was born? I wanted to have a good relationship if possible, but I was worried about my relationship with Naomi for a while. However, I found out a few years ago that the reason was beyond my control, and now I have given up. My son graduated from a famous university and got a job at a major company. That's why Naomi thought that I, as a mother, was also a wonderful person. However, after graduating from junior high school, I got a job and got married. There's no benefit in getting involved with a mother-in-law who graduated from junior high school, right? It's kind of silly, and Naomi only told me that a few years ago. For Naomi, who emphasizes educational background, she didn't want to admit me. People with low deviation values should not get involved with my daughter. When Violet was worried about going to school, she ran away to my house, and I found out why Naomi hated me. It's shocking, to be honest. And even if I went to high school now, Naomi wouldn't approve of me. Of course, I don't plan to go to school either, but for Naomi, whose parents are also college graduates, I am sure that I will never be recognized. There are things that don't suit people, and if you don't get along with them, there's nothing more and nothing less. That's why I don't want to get into unnecessary conflicts, and I try to have minimal involvement now. And my granddaughter, Violet, has been contacting me occasionally since she got a smartphone. That's enough for me to be happy. She still has a long way to go to get used to life in New York, so I had a little conversation with Violet the other day. Just being able to see her growth in this way is a blessing for a grandmother. However, one day, 3 months after Violet moved to New York, she received a phone call apologizing. "Grandma, can you lend me $100 this month? I'll definitely get it back later." When I ask her if she has used the money, Violet replies with a wry smile that she is. The fact that Violet, who is firm and kind, asks me to do so, must mean that she is in a considerable corner of state. I told him that she didn't have to return it and that I wanted her to study hard, and I sent her $300. Violet is the only grandchild and a girl. There are many temptations in New York, so I was more happy to have someone to rely on than to try to solve them alone. However, since then, Violet has frequently asked me about money. Of course, I'm willing to pay as much as I want for my cute grandchild. I think I've saved enough money to give my grandchild a luxury. However, I feel a little uncomfortable watching Violet for a long time. Maybe a bad friend in New York is trying to get you to spend a lot of money. When you go to university, you're often invited to multi-level marketing. I was worried and asked Violet, but she told me that she was busy with her studies and didn't have much of a part-time job. I asked my son if he would like to increase the amount of remittance, but she asked me not to tell my parents because she didn't want them to worry. Certainly, both the funds for moving to New York and the monthly remittances for living expenses must be quite a burden. Even so, it may be difficult to say that they would like to see a little more remittances. However, when I casually asked my son how much he was sending to Violet, he said that he sends about $1,500 every month. It's enough money if you don't waste it. And considering Violet's personality, she's not the kind of kid who wastes money. After all, I have a feeling that I can't get my head around somewhere. One day, when I was confused, I happened to meet Naomi at a department store. Naomi was about to enter a brand shop. When she made eye contact with me, she seemed somewhat restless. I feel a little sorry that she really doesn't want to see me, but I guess I can't help it because she hates me. Even people like you are interested in branded products. When I say hello and try to leave, Naomi asks me with a slight snort. When I told her that I had chosen a gift for a friend, even though I thought it was superfluous, Naomi said that she had come to choose a small item for her husband, her son. According to Naomi, if you have a decent job, the accessories you wear must be top-notch. In that respect, I was sarcastically told that it was easy because I could wear anything. The conversation lasted less than a minute, but she is not a person who makes me feel good when I talk to her. If you can afford branded goods, you should send more money to Violet. Of course, I may be able to buy it because I don't know the current situation of Violet, but I also felt that it was incompatible with Naomi. Since then, Violet has been asking me to lend her money every month. I wondered if I was insistent, but I decided to try again to tell her to ask them to increase the amount of money they sent her. Of course, I could continue to pay Violet the money I wanted, but Violet herself seemed to have a hard time asking me to do it every month. "Grandma, I'm really sorry that I borrowed tens of thousands every month. No one wants to borrow money." When I hear those words, I feel sad too. I told her many times that I didn't have to return it, but Violet's feelings didn't change, and she said that she would definitely return it. Violet, your family isn't in that financial trouble, and I'm sure you're sorry that you're sending me money, but I think you can trust your parents and rely on them. I know that you feel sorry to ask them to send more money, but can you trust your parents? If she's not willing to tell them, I would tell them. When I ask her if she can leave it to me because she won't do anything wrong, Violet says she doesn't want to quit school. Violet told me that I couldn't believe that in my mind, sending money and quitting school were not equal. I told her that I couldn't understand why you can't go to school anymore just to increase the money. Mommy is having an affair. Her words were so outlandish that I couldn't help but raise my voice strangely. Violet then explains what has happened so far. Violet accidentally found out about Naomi's affair when she was in high school. However, when she told Naomi about it, Naomi threatened her without showing any remorse. First, her infidelity with her father may break up her family and prevent her from going to college. In the first place, Violet's father is not the father of today. Violet said that by telling her father the truth, she would also tell her that she was not related by blood. She can't do that. You're my son's child. I tried to argue in a trembling voice, but Violet said that she had secretly done a DNA test before moving to New York. That's when she found out that she wasn't really related to my son by blood. It was such a shocking fact that I almost blacked out in front of me. But it's Violet who's hurt the most right now. In addition, Violet did not receive a monthly remittance. It seems that Naomi uses the remittance as a gag fee. That's probably why Violet couldn't talk to her parents and borrowed money from me. She tried my best to do something with her part-time job, but it seems that the cost of living would be a normal part-time job. In addition, first-year students often have the necessary things in class, and there are many classes. Even if she saved money, she would run out of money every month, Violet told me through tears. I couldn't believe that something like this was happening around me. But I don't think the story of my crying granddaughter is a lie. Violet, you're really my grandchild, and I definitely think of my son, Violet's father, as his daughter. No matter what, it's unwavering. So I persuaded Violet to believe in us. A week after the confession, my son and I went to New York to meet Violet. The three of us talked and we cried in Violet's room where she lived alone. My son, Violet, and of course I realized that we cared very much about each other. Violet, who had always been anxious that they were not connected by blood, finally understood that she was an existence that could not be discarded. It must be very painful for my son. However, he vowed that he would never quit being Violet's father. I thought once again that you don't have to be related by blood to be a parent and child. On the other hand, even if they are connected by blood, there are people who do not think that they are parents and children. Of course, I'm talking about Naomi, my daughter-in-law. A person who threatens her daughter because her affair is found out is not a mother or anything. Then my son and he decided to prepare to fight Naomi. It wasn't until 3 months later that everything was in place, and in the meantime, there was more than enough evidence of Naomi's infidelity. Mother-in-law, my husband hasn't come home for a few days, don't you know anything? I was stunned by the call from Naomi, who seemed to be a little flustered, and she finally noticed. It's been a week since my son left the house. Are you really saying a few days? Naomi must have been offended by my words. If you know, tell me where he is, and let me call you. However, when I replied that I couldn't tell my daughter-in-law who was having an affair, Naomi was silent for a while. Naomi remained silent for about a minute and told him that he knew everything he had done. That Violet was not his son's biological daughter and that the affair had been going on for 20 years. That she had kept the money to Violet for herself. And knowing all that, my son wants to get a divorce. I told her everything from my mouth. Divorce. My husband said that. It's a lie, isn't it? With a tone of voice that sounded quite agitated, Naomi finally spoke. I'm not lying, my son has already moved, so you're going to move out of that house next month. When I told her that, Naomi insisted that it couldn't be like that. It's a bad way to say it, but there is a passage where my son has been at Naomi's mercy until now. Of course, there were some unforgivable conditions, but he basically respected Naomi's opinion. He didn't complain when she didn't do housework or was away from home. Maybe it's true that he couldn't say anything to the strong-willed Naomi, but that's probably why she didn't expect my son to betray her. Mother-in-law, let me talk to my husband. I'm not having an affair. That's something wrong. I told her that I had evidence of infidelity in the drawer in the living room and that my son was going to live with Violet and me in New York. He had been approached about working at the head office in New York for some time, but Naomi had stopped doing so. I'm sure she was in trouble because she wouldn't be able to meet her affair partner. However, in the past 3 months, he has been talking about transfers, and he has been working at the head office since the other day. That's why it took so long to get a divorce. I'm sure you'll hear from my lawyer soon, because my son is going to get a divorce. And Violet will continue to live with him, who is a father. Hearing my words, Naomi went crazy. I'm the one who is connected to Violet by blood. I'll sue you. I'm going to send my husband and all my daughters to hell. From the beginning, the father on the family register is now a son, and Violet is already 18 years old. There is no need to discuss custody either, so as long as both parties are satisfied, there will be no problem. I'm sure Naomi knows that, but she doesn't want to admit it. The fear of losing her stable life surely is attacking Naomi. But I have no sympathy. That's all she deserved. It was Naomi who betrayed and hurt her family. You're going to hell, you already know that, right? I can hear Naomi sobbing over the phone. She must have given up on the idea that she couldn't say anything anymore. Mother-in-law, please help me. I apologize to my husband and daughter. Please. Neither of them contacted me back. Even though she didn't approve of me and hated me so much, I thought she could make such a request. In her case, it was a problem before she didn't fit in as a person. I was wrong in thinking that I would get along with such a selfish person. I can't listen to your request. Please contact me through a lawyer in the future, and I don't want to associate with someone who is not a good person. Please don't personally get involved with my family again. She was crying loudly at my words. She's not ready to talk anymore, and I think I've told you everything I want to say. I hung up the phone and blocked her contact information just like my son. I won't ever have a conversation with Naomi again. I let her get out of touch as she wanted. After that, the divorce talk between my son and Naomi did not progress well, and in the end it was settled by mediation divorce. It took 6 months, but my grandchild and I are relieved that we were able to get a divorce safely. By the way, Naomi's affair partner is also a married person, and it seems that it was a double affair. Naomi was also asked for alimony by her affair partner's wife, and she is now busy paying it. Because of the use of her daughter's money and savings, her property was almost never divided. For Naomi, who has been extravagant with his money, her current life must be very difficult. It seems that her parents have abandoned her because of this incident. She seems to be managing to make a living by selling the brand name products she has bought so far, but that life does not last long. However, even my grandchild, Violet, has been trying her best to live on her own. I think it's an excuse that Naomi can't do it. After the divorce, she was contacted several times through a lawyer asking for money, but no one helped her. I don't know what happened to Naomi after that, but I haven't heard that she died, so she must be alive somewhere. I don't care what happens to her life unless she doesn't do anything to my son and grandchild. And my son and grandchild, who live together, seem to be closer than before. The resentment over the lack of blood connection has disappeared, and the bond between parents and children seems to have become even stronger. Also, on holidays, the whole family started going camping. My son has always loved the outdoors, but Violet has apparently become interested in it recently. I'm worried that it's okay for my daughter to play with her family all the time, but now that Violet and my son are having fun, it's enough for me to watch them in good spirits. The rest is a life of aging. I still want to watch over and support these two people. For that reason, I will take care of my health and try to be a more energetic grandma.